Mark Gilman, along with Western Oregon head football coach Arne Ferguson. And, Coach, let's first of all talk about last week's ball game. Those are the kind of ball games you want to bottle and use again later. A big win over a top 10 team in D2 in North Alabama. And you guys played some of your best football, although especially in that fourth quarter, to put away a team that was not going to go really very quietly.
North Alabama is extremely good. Yeah. They're a consistent playoff team. They lost to Valdosta in a real close game last year. They played Valdosta before we played them and pretty much blew them out, it seemed like. They've only punted 4 times going into this game. So we knew by playing them last year we had to do certain things, and certain things we had to do extremely well. They're a very, very explosive offense team, really solid on defense, and very well coached. They obviously take their football seriously down south, and we're very fortunate that our players really rose to the occasion. You know, we're at a point where we're not sure how good this team's going to be because our first 5, we had 5 road games out of 6, so it's nice to be back home and see significant improvement against probably the best, I would say, best offensive team that I've seen on MacArthur Field in 30 years.
Now, you guys threw in a little wrinkle yourself when you went to a 3-man front. I thought that was genius. You have a lot of good linebackers. You could add them in, and that seemed to cause them problems, especially early.
Well, we had to match our speed, and we felt that it gave us a chance to do that. But we also moved some things in and out. And the biggest thing is our players defensively, the first 3 possessions had 3 turnovers. And the things that weren't given, that we had to create off of the things that we saw that there might be opportunities there. So they executed the game plan probably the most significantly throughout the game of any team that we've had defensively. We've had some very good defensive teams. But you can't talk enough about how our offense came through in the fourth quarter also.
Yeah. I was going to say early it was a little bit of a struggle, but you guys used a gadget play, kind of like what Portland State did. You guys used your variation on it with Paul Revis with the touchdown pass.
Yeah, Paul is one of those kids that's so slippery and does everything so well, throws, catches, runs. So we had an opportunity to try to get some things going and put the ball in his hands and let him create some things. And you have to credit also Cooey Williams for really accelerating, outrunning a DB, 2 DBs in the corner of end zone, and getting 1 foot down just like he did in high school as a tight end. So that was pretty impressive. And then obviously Paul's throw was right on the money.
Yeah. Now, in this ball game, it was tough. It had 10 points off of 3 turnovers, and things were looking good. And then things that just caused the whole crowd to go quiet. That late touchdown in the first half for North Alabama.
Yeah, there was last drive before the half, and mix up in coverage. We need to be better at that. We understand the field that we have to work with. It was a very safe coverage, and we just jumped on something that wasn't there. And so we have to learn from those mistakes and not have them happen again, because those 7 points really changed the game. But our players knew they made a mistake and recovered and started the third quarter and knew that they had to withstand a team that's going to have quite a few barrages as far as pushing the tempo offensively, defensively.
They came out and hit a couple of field goals. I have to tell you, from my perspective, though, a team that had scored as many points as they had coming into that ball game, defense did a great job in that second half of bending and not breaking.
Yeah, the 4 major factors. First of all, defense setting the tone early, getting major turnovers. We'd like to capitalize better on that, but didn't. That takes some time, and we have to learn to really push it in the end zone on that. Then the next thing is our special teams. Overall, special teams really changed the game, where they had really long field position. Paul Revis with a punt return that really helped. Obviously, we talked about the special teams fake. Then lastly, our O-line and our offense really came together against a very physical and fast front that was really bringing everything every snap. And so we had to adjust. They're trying to put you in one or two or three bad situations, and they made a lot of adjustments in a hurry. And Phillip came in and acted like he's been doing this for years after years after years with limited playing time. His poise and confidence in those critical last two drives was pretty impressive.
I was going to say, when David Sowers went down with it looked like a bad bruise on the forearm there. Now you're down to your number 3 quarterback, but you've used Phillip, so and it was masterful to watch him do what he did, is running that football. They just didn't stop him.
Yeah, the decisions he made. He didn't force it. The decisions were right on cue against a lot of different looks. So that was impressive. And Phillip has played in the past. David's played, but we're down really, honestly, to our number 3 quarterback. And they haven't got the practice reps that 1 or 2 does, and that's hard. To perform your best with limited time. I mean, you got to remember last year, Phillip was a starting tight end. Yeah. As a redshirt freshman. Now he's a sophomore, playing receiver, playing tight end, playing on special teams, playing quarterback. So that was is really impressive for him. And then obviously John Breland coming in with a huge pick at the end to seal it was a very emotional win, one of the biggest wins as for me as a head coach against an opponent that's non-conference, that's ranked in the top 10. So.
Now this week you take on a team that when you played them in Ellensburg, it was a tough loss up there, taking on Central Washington, team that lost to South Dakota School of Mines this last week. And I know you guys like nothing better than to return the favor at MacArthur Field.
Well, South Dakota School of Mines can score major points, and so can Central. Really? It was 40-0 at halftime, if you remember. We made some mistakes offensively, and we allowed big runs to happen on defense, which was uncharacteristic of what we like to do. So being in our place, being able to settle down, hopefully build off this huge win, and see how good this group can be. So we're still have a lot of improvement. We're not where we need to be. We're excited to see what we can do against a team that's going to score tons of points, then has also a defense that just is coming from all kinds of different angles that we have to adjust to. All
right. Well, Coach Arne Ferguson, it was a great weekend of football. Looking forward to seeing if it can be 2 in a row. Thanks again for your time.
Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.